Booktube? Everybody, my name is Eliza and welcome to my new Booktube channel. I am very new to filming. I've never really filmed myself in front of a camera before, so I'm just gonna wing this video and we're gonna see what happens. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Eliza. I am 17 years old, currently living in northern USA. I don't want to exactly disclose my location because privacy. I'm going to be a senior in high school in the fall, and I have loved reading since before I can remember. When I was little, I used to take a little Disney princess flashlight and I would hide under my bed and I would read books from the light of the flashlight until my mom came in and busted me, and then she would take my flashlight away. Some of the clips that you just saw were from my recent vacation because my family owns a teeny tiny little cabin a couple hours north of here in the Northwoods. So we went on a little vacation, and on that vacation I read a ton. I didn't read a lot of books, but I read a lot. And I discovered that I am a very slow reader. And that's why I was always baffled about how people can yank out a big stack of 12 books a month that they read, and I'm just like So I read this one book in almost an entire day, and I'm still I think I have about 100 pages until I finally finish it. But this book is Wicked Fox by Kat Cho, and yes, I am a huge fan of K-dramas, and when I heard that this book was very loosely inspired by K-dramas, I was like, okay, I have to read it. So I found it, I bought it, and it kind of sat on my shelf for a little while because I'm not great at reading new books. But I finally read it, and I still have about 100 pages left. It's so good. This book is one of those books that kind of grabs you from the real world and sucks you into the book, and then when you have to stop reading or put it down to I don't know, eat food, you're kind of just oh, okay. It sucks you in and you feel like you're totally entrapped in this world, and those are my favorite kinds of books because those are the ones that truly allow you to live in the experience of the book, and I love that. It follows two characters, Myung and Jihoon. I apologize if my pronunciation is not correct. I've been a K-pop fan for almost 3 years now, and I still can't get it right. Myung is actually a gumyo, which is a nine-tailed fox girl, and she basically feeds on the ji or energy of men. Already kind of badass, not gonna lie. What happens is she one night rescues June, and then so their paths kind of cross, and then things happen and it gets really dark. Chapter 29, that's when stuff hits the fan. The whole book is very well paced. I love the pacing in this book, but in chapter 29 it hits and it runs. One of the characters said that big things always happen at the first snow, and big things, oh boy, do they happen in this book. I mean this in the nicest way possible, but it feels like Twilight. Not in a cringy, I'm so strong and oh no, I'm so weak, not in that kind of way, but more in a predator and prey kind of thing. It's like Twilight, but it's better. Please read it. Yes, I've also been annotating this book a little bit. This one I just put sticky notes. I don't want to show this page for too long because I don't want to spoil anyone. But yeah, I just have different sticky notes. And the purple kind of indicates romantic moments. The pink is just more things that I wanted to mark. And then the blue is things that made me really sad. So that is Wicked Fox. And I decided, I was like, oh hey, isn't that sequel coming out this year? So what I did is I went on Goodreads and I looked it up to see the cover, and I kept scrolling and I looked at the description for the second book, which spoils the ending of the first book. So even though I have like 100 pages left, I still know what happens. Oopsie. So next I kind of wanted to go over my anticipated July TBR. I use the word anticipated because I know I am not going to read all of these books or finish all of them, but we'll see what happens. So the first book that I want to read or finish in the month of July is Frankly in Love by David Yoon. I started reading this in February, but I never got around to finishing it. I honestly bought it as a cover buy. The concept couldn't even like intrigue me that much. I don't like love triangles. Both of the romances in this were very insta-lovey. I have like 100 pages left, but I just want to finish it. I just want to get it through, get it over with. That's that. So I have The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but obviously this is a more popular book, and I was supposed to read it for my end of year English project, and we never got around to it because of COVID, so I kind of wanted to read it just because my teacher really loved it. She said it's one of her favorite books to teach, and I really love my English teacher, so I was like, hey, I have that book, I'll just read it, you know, and just we'll see what happens. So I'm only like on page like 30, but I'm really liking it so far, and I think it's gonna be really interesting, especially because it takes place in either Iran or Iraq. I started reading it like a month ago and I can't necessarily remember where it takes place. I really hope that I enjoy this, and it sounds just really interesting. So the next book I have is Stonewall by Anne Bossoon, and it kind of just goes over the history of Stonewall and what happened with Stonewall, and I've heard things about it. I knew that there was riots, I knew that it was originally a club, but I didn't necessarily know the full history of it. So for last month, Pride Month, I started reading it, and I got to page 38, but I never really finished it, and this is one of my first like non-fiction books that I read, and I really want to get more into reading non-fiction, so I figured what better way to do it than educating myself during Pride Month. And even though Pride Month is over, we still continue to celebrate Pride every month and every single day of the year. More education for me. Next book is one that I picked up at the library. Again, I use library books a lot, and this one is called The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. But this is basically like the Hunger Games, like almost exactly the Hunger Games, but with more feminism. So basically the women in this world, once they hit 16, they have to do like a grace year where they kind of go into the wild and they have to live out there, because apparently they release an aura and the aura is too strong for the men to handle, and so they go off and they live in the woods. And I am on roughly page 60, and it's just really interesting so far and really intriguing, and it really does have like a huge Hunger Games vibe to it, which I am living for because I love the Hunger Games. That was one of my childhood books, so I'm really enjoying this. This next book will be hopefully a really quick read. I've only spent like 20 minutes reading it, and I'm already on like page 50, and this book is The Selection by Kira Cass, and I never read these books when I was younger. My best friend had the box set and she's like, hey, you should read these. So I'm like, okay, I guess, because there's a show coming out possibly. I'm like, might as well. So I kind of want to power through the first book, and maybe I'll just read one book a month until I finish them. But it's not terrible so far. Like, I don't necessarily like the cringiness of it. It's, what are you gonna expect from like a 2012 young adult book? Like, I hope to finish this very soon, and I hope it's gonna be good. I mean, if anything, it'll just be fun to laugh at it. Okay, that is The Selection. Then this next book I want to read, it was actually, like, I kind of sent my friend a picture and I was like, hey, pick a book for me to read on vacation, and I never got around to it, but this book is Leah on the Offbeat, and I feel terrible because I was a huge fan of Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I actually, like, I bought the book. I went to go see the movie in theaters like 3 times. Before the movie even came out, I read the book like in one sitting, which is the only time I've ever done that with a book. and I just never got around to reading about Leah, which makes me mad because I like Leah. She was one of my favorite characters. And so I just cannot, I don't necessarily know anything about this, but I just can't wait to delve into it and just kind of let it consume me the exact same way that Simon did. So, yay! Well, that is the end for my July TBR. Thanks. Then one of the last things that I wanted to talk about was the other book that I have been reading right now, and that book is The Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan. Good old Uncle Rick. And I read these books when I was in roughly 4th grade. You can see I have a nice collection going on up here. And I could not remember for the life of me what happened past like the 2nd book. So I was like, hey, I want to reread these. And I was talking to my good friend Isabella. She is a booktuber over at Throne of Pages, and she's honestly one of my biggest inspirations, and I love her so much. And I was like, hey, do you want to buddy read these with me? And she was like, oh hey, sure. So we're up to the 4th book, and honestly, it's amazing. Just the nostalgic feeling that Percy Jackson brings back is so great. Like, I didn't necessarily grow up with Harry Potter. I read Harry Potter in middle school. This is my Harry Potter. This is my like childhood book experience. Like, me and my friends all read these books, and then we would go around and I would pretend like, oh, I'm a child of Hades, I can raise the dead, and then my other friends, they would be like, oh, I'm a child of Zeus, or oh, I'm a child of Poseidon, and then we would all go around running around on the playground playing that we're raising the dead, or like, oh, I struck you with lightning, or oh, I put a big wave over your head, you're drowning right now. It just brings back so many childhood memories while I'm reading these books, and it's just so amazing. And just honestly, Rick Riordan's writing style is undefeatable, like never before done. No one will ever do it as well as he does. Just the way that he can take mythology and make it for kids, even though these are incredibly dark, and sometimes I'm like, are these meant for kids? Are they? So insanely good, and his humor is so good. I love good old Uncle Rick. I always will, and I am so happy to be rereading these books, especially with a good friend. So the very last thing I wanted to quickly mention in this video is why I'm on Booktube now. That reason is that I had discovered Booktube when I was in like roughly 7th grade, and I watched the videos and I was like, this is so cool, I want to do that. And obviously 7th grade I was very young, so I didn't necessarily like know what I was doing. I didn't have any of the right equipment. My phone was terrible. I could not record on that thing. So what I would do is I would sit and watch booktubers for hours on end. And some of my favorite booktubers back then, I just wanted to shout them out. They're my biggest inspirations, and they're the reason that I wanted to start making a booktube, and they're the reason that I fell in love with the booktube community and everything that is here that I didn't even know was a possibility. And now here I am making my first video. So I just wanted to say a quick thank you to A Clockwork Reader, A Book Utopia, one of my favorites, Ariel Bissett, Emma Books, Haley in Bookland, Jessie the Reader, Catty-tastic, Peruse Project, and Poland Bananas Books. These guys, I would stay up for hours to watch their videos. Like, every single time a new video came out, I had to watch it as soon as I possibly could. They are my biggest inspirations, and I thank them every single day for creating a channel and inspiring me to create my own channel. After a while, kind of my first couple of years of high school, I went through like a little patch where I kind of stopped reading for a while, and now I'm finally getting back into reading, and I got back into Booktube. And now, obviously, it's been like a couple years, and there are new booktubers that have emerged, and some of the new ones that I've really been loving, that have really like recently pushed me to create a channel, are Books with Emily Fox, Brittany the Bibliophile, Leo Reads, Naya Reads and Smiles, I can't say her name without smiling, and then Books with Chloe is one of my biggest inspirations. I love everything about her videos, just the way she executes them. She's not afraid to like speak her mind and put her opinions out there, and just the aesthetic overall of the videos is really pleasing too, and I can tell she works really hard to keep that up, and I just love it so much. And then lastly, I would like to say a huge thank you to Throne of Pages, I've been messaging her for a couple months now, and we've been friends for a little while, and she has totally supported me like 110% with this entire process. Whenever I had a question, I would just run to her and she would help answer it for me, and she's just been such an amazing help. And honestly, I don't know if I would be sitting here and filming if it weren't for her, and so I am just very grateful to have her as a friend. Thank you so much. Alright, well, I think I'm going to end my first video here, and I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who stuck around and watched this entire thing, because I probably am not the most exciting speaker right now. I'm still getting used to looking at the camera and not looking at myself. Once again, I am so thankful to finally be doing this. This has been a dream of mine for like 5-6 years, and I'm so excited to finally become a part of the community and being able to like read books with friends and possibly send books to my friends, and just I am so insanely excited to be a part of this amazing community. Like I've never seen a single online community like this one. Like obviously it has its ups and its downs. Everyone is so accepting and so like open to other opinions, and it's such an amazing community, and I'm so thankful to finally be here. So I hope you will continue to support me in my upcoming videos, and I will see you next time.